question revolves around the National Electrical Code, specifically Article 210.70, which addresses lighting outlets required at exterior entrances with grade-level access. The core of the issue lies in interpreting the phrase grade-level access and whether a Bilco door with steps leading down to a basement entrance qualifies as such. According to the NEC, a Bilco door with 5 or 6 steps descending below grade to a basement entrance does not meet the definition of grade-level access as stipulated in Article 100 of the National Electrical Code. Article 100 provides definitions for various terms used throughout the NEC, ensuring consistent interpretation and application of the code's requirements. The definition of grade-level access typically implies a direct pathway from the exterior grade to an entrance without significant vertical displacement, such as steps. The presence of multiple steps indicates a departure from this direct, grade-level connection. Consequently, the lighting outlet requirement specified in NEC Article 210.70 does not apply to a Bilco door installation with steps leading down to a basement entrance. Article 210.70 specifically mandates a lighting outlet controlled by a wall switch at each exterior door intended for personnel entry and exit, where the access is considered a grade level. The intention behind this requirement is to provide adequate illumination for safe passage during nighttime or low light conditions, enhancing safety and security at these entry points. In the absence of grade level access, the code does not mandate a lighting outlet at the Bilco door location. However, this does not preclude the installation of lighting at the basement entrance for other reasons. For example, lighting might still be desired for convenience, security, or aesthetic purposes. The NEC provides minimum safety standards, but it does not prohibit exceeding those standards. Therefore, while not required by Article 210.70, a homeowner or building owner may choose to install a lighting outlet at the Bilco door entrance to improve visibility and safety. When considering electrical installations beyond the NEC requirements, it is essential to adhere to all other applicable codes and regulations, including local building codes and safety standards. These codes may have additional requirements or restrictions that must be followed. It is also crucial to ensure that any electrical work is performed by a qualified and licensed electrician who is familiar with the NEC and local codes. This will help to ensure that the installation is safe, code compliant, and properly functioning. The determination of whether a particular entrance qualifies as grade level access can sometimes be subjective and may depend on the interpretation of local building inspectors or authorities having jurisdiction. In cases of ambiguity, it is advisable to consult with the local inspection authority for clarification and guidance. Obtaining a formal interpretation or ruling from the authority having jurisdiction can help to avoid potential code violations and ensure compliance with all applicable regulations. In summary, a Bilco door with steps leading down to a basement entrance is generally not considered grade level access under the NEC, and therefore, a lighting outlet is not required at the location by Article 210.70. However, installing lighting at the basement entrance may still be desirable for other reasons, and all electrical work should be performed by a qualified electrician in accordance with the NEC and local codes. Furthermore, it is always recommended to consult with the local inspection authority for clarification and guidance in cases of ambiguity or uncertainty. Let's delve deeper into the specific sections of the NEC to understand the rationale behind this interpretation. Article 100, as mentioned earlier, is crucial for definitions. The absence of a specific definition for grade level access in Article 100 necessitates a common sense interpretation, considering the intent of the code. The intent, as inferred from Article 210.70, is to illuminate entrances that are readily accessible from the exterior grade without significant impediment. The presence of 5 or 6 steps introduces a significant impediment, distinguishing the Bilco door entrance from a true grade level access point. Article 210.70 covers lighting outlets, and its various subsections detail the requirements for different locations within a building. Subsection 2 specifically addresses dwelling units, and paragraph B focuses on outdoor entrances. The wording of paragraph B is precise, specifying exterior doors intended for personnel entry or exit and requiring a lighting outlet at each such door. However, the qualifier with grade level access is critical. This qualifier limits the scope of the requirement entrances that are directly accessible from the grade without the need to navigate steps or other significant vertical obstacles. The NEC also addresses other types of outdoor lighting, such as those required for decks, balconies, and patios. These requirements are typically found in other subsections of Article 210.70 or in other articles of the NEC. The fact that the NEC has specific requirements for these other outdoor areas further reinforces the idea that the grade level access requirement for exterior doors is intended to apply only to entrances that are directly accessible from the grade. Consider the scenario of a raised deck with steps leading down to the yard. While the deck itself may require lighting outlets, the door leading from the house onto the deck would likely be considered an exterior door with grade level access if the deck is at the same level as the entrance. However, the area at the bottom of the steps leading down to the yard would not be considered grade level access, even though it is an exterior area. Similarly, a walkout basement with a door leading directly onto a patio at grade level would likely be considered an exterior door with grade level access, and a lighting outlet would be required. In contrast, a basement entrance access only by a Bilco door with steps would not be subject to the same requirement. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and interpretations of specific code requirements can evolve over time. It is therefore important to stay current with the latest edition of the NEC and to consult with qualified professionals for guidance on specific installations. The NEC is not a design manual, and it does not provide detailed instructions on how to design an electrical system. Rather, it sets forth minimum safety standards that must be met. It is the responsibility of the designer and installer to ensure that the electrical system is safe and code compliant. In addition to the NEC, local building codes and regulations may impose additional requirements or restrictions. These local codes may be more stringent than the NEC, and they must be followed. It is therefore essential to consult with the local building department to determine the applicable codes and regulations for a particular installation. The NEC also addresses the types of wiring methods that are permitted for outdoor installations. These wiring methods must be suitable for the environment in which they are installed, and they must be protected from physical damage. Common wiring methods for outdoor installations include rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, and liquid-tight flexible metal conduit. The NEC also specifies the types of boxes and fittings that are permitted for outdoor installations. These boxes and fittings must be weatherproof and corrosion-resistant. Common types of boxes and fittings for outdoor installations include cast aluminum boxes and PVC boxes. The NEC also addresses grounding and bonding requirements for outdoor electrical equipment. These requirements are designed to ensure that the equipment is properly grounded and bonded, which helps to protect against electric shock. Grounding and bonding requirements vary depending on the type of equipment and the location of the installation. In the case of a Bilco door entrance, it is important to ensure that any metal components of the door and frame are properly grounded and bonded. This can be accomplished by connecting a grounding conductor to the metal components and bonding the grounding conductor to the building's grounding electrode system. The NEC also addresses overcurrent protection requirements for outdoor circuits. These requirements are designed to protect the wiring and equipment from damage due to overloads and short circuits. Overcurrent protection is typically provided by circuit breakers or fuses. The size of the circuit breaker or fuse must be appropriate for the size of the wiring and the load that it is serving. In the case of a lighting outlet at an exterior entrance, the circuit breaker or fuse should be sized to protect the wiring and the lighting fixture. The NEC also addresses surge protection requirements for outdoor electrical equipment. Surge protection is designed to protect the equipment from damage due to voltage surges caused by lightning or other electrical disturbances. Surge protection devices are typically installed at the service entrance of the building and at the equipment itself. In areas that are prone to lightning strikes, surge protection is particularly important for outdoor electrical equipment. The NEC also addresses the installation of ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, in outdoor locations. GFCIs are designed to protect against electric shock by detecting small imbalances in the current flowing through a circuit. When a GFCI detects an imbalance, it quickly trips the circuit, cutting off the power and preventing a potentially fatal shock. GFCIs are required in many outdoor locations, including those that are readily accessible to the public. In the case of a lighting outlet at an exterior entrance, a GFCI may be required depending on the specific location and the local codes. When installing electrical equipment outdoors, it is important to consider the effects of weather and environmental conditions. These conditions can include rain, snow, ice, wind, and temperature extremes. Electrical equipment that is installed outdoors must be designed to withstand these conditions and to operate safely in the environment in which it is installed. For example, outdoor lighting fixtures must be weatherproof and corrosion resistant, and they must be able to withstand high winds and heavy snow loads. Wiring and conduit must also be suitable for outdoor use and must be protected from physical damage. In addition to the NEC and local codes, there may be other applicable standards and regulations that must be followed when installing electrical equipment outdoors. These standards and regulations may be issued by organizations such as the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, or IEE, and the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA. It is important to be familiar with these standards and regulations and to ensure that all electrical work is performed in accordance with them. The NEC provides a comprehensive set of safety standards for electrical installations, and it is essential to follow these standards to ensure the safety of people and property. However, the NEC is not a substitute for good engineering judgment and sound electrical practices. It is always important to use common sense and to consult with qualified professionals when designing and installing electrical systems. In conclusion, while the NEC does not require a lighting outlet at a Bilco door entrance with steps leading down to a basement, it is always important to consider the specific circumstances of the installation and to consult with qualified professionals to ensure that the electrical system is safe and code compliant. Remember to always prioritize safety and to follow all applicable codes and regulations. The absence of a mandatory requirement does not preclude the desirability or even the necessity of installing lighting for safety and convenience. Consider adding motion sensors or timers to control the lighting, enhancing both security and energy efficiency. Regular inspection and maintenance of all outdoor electrical equipment is crucial to ensure its continued safe and reliable operation. Check for signs of damage, corrosion, or wear, and replace any components that are in need of repair. Pay particular attention to wiring, connections, and grounding systems. If you are not comfortable performing electrical work yourself, it is always best to hire a qualified electrician to do the job. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to avoid electric shock. Always turn off the power before working on any electrical equipment and use appropriate safety gear such as rubber gloves and insulated tools. By following these guidelines, you can help to ensure that your outdoor electrical system is safe, reliable, and code compliant.